Getting started a little bit late, but we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I verified we have a quorum to start the meeting here. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. Is the voice good? Last meeting, people couldn't hear me. Can you guys hear me good? Good to go. Action items. The first action item we have tonight is number 1, is the approval of the SPED co-op continued agreement.
This is just a continuation of our agreement with our special education co-op. What you've done in the past, it requires board approval and then a signature by the board president and secretary that I would then pass along to our group.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Becky seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Great. We don't have any non-action items tonight. Main focus tonight is informational on the 2 safe rooms to discuss. We will not vote on anything tonight. We'll discuss more in detail with the information that we had last week. We haven't opened up the meeting to visitors because of the current situation as we have. In June, we will try to open up the meeting to more visitors for that. We do have some people that wanted to write in some comments and Becky was gracious enough to collect those comments. We're going to let Becky read those comments from some of the people here in town.
I'm going to take my mask off in order to make sure that everyone can hear me. This is from Nancy Predmore. She again, like to go back what Rodney just said, was we were felt like for the safety that we had asked instead of for them to come speak, just to write a letter. And so this letter was from Nancy Predmore. I'd like to thank you all for allowing me to speak tonight. Her daughter will be incoming freshman this year at Salem High School. I am not musical. I am more of a joyful noisemaker, but Delaney loves music, which is her daughter. From the time she was little, music has always been important to her. Salem Community Schools has only increased the love of music for my child. She was involved in several music programs at Brady Sharm Elementary. It was no surprise that she had continued to be part of the arts in Salem Middle School through regular classroom band, marching band, pep band, and solo and ensemble. She plans to continue those activities at Salem High School. She also talked about continuing her music education into her college and career days. She is 14, so that could change. Delaney has also been an introvert. She doesn't like new situations and generally pretty quiet. I was told by many parents that the middle school was hard on kids. They struggle to find where they fit in. As parents, we don't want our kids to struggle, and I won't lie. I was worried that she would struggle. Instead, I watched her blossom. She joined marching band as a 7th grader, and she found a place where she felt at home. The last 2 years as a band member have made her feel that she has a group of people who have her back, something that we all want. Her confidence has grown so much. Teachers have told me how much she has seen her come out of the shell. She participated in the Amazing Shake contest in which she had to make conversations with people that she didn't know. She was one of the top 12s at Salem Middle School. Without marching band, I am not sure what she would have done for confidence. I don't worry about her starting Salem High School next year in this traditional sense. She has friends there already because of marching band. When she puts on her honor state championship ring, I see the confidence that she finally has in herself. What I worry about is the fact that she will have to leave high school each and every day to take a class that she loves, rain, snow, freezing weather. She will be walking from Salem High School to Salem Middle School. I don't know any other classes that will have to do that. I worry that after supporting the basketball teams by playing in the pep band, she has to walk in the dark from Salem High School to Salem Middle School. Yes, this is a choice, but I'm pretty sure that we all love hearing the band support our teams in this way. Having access to a music room at Salem High School will keep children, along with many others, now and the future safer. This opportunity that our community is being given is amazing. We have had a chance to provide safe room for all of our students at Salem High School, or we have a chance to, and the surrounding neighborhood. We also have a chance to show our musical students that they are important by utilizing this room as part of us as well. Please show our students that they matter. Thank you for your time, Nancy Predmore. We've had several others. This is from Jackie Davis. I've not pre-read these. Dear Salem Community School Board of Trustees, Administration, and Mr. Acton, you all have children. I want you to picture this. You're out of town for work when you get a phone call that changes your life forever. This is much like the phone call many parents, grandparents, etc. have received over the last several years and beyond. On the end of the phone is someone telling you your child's school just got destroyed by a tornado. Part of you cannot move and the other part can't move fast enough. What do? The school doesn't have a basement. Your child could be fine, seriously injured, or God forbid, dead. I know that's the thought as a parent, never want to think about. You try to get to there as fast as you can, but the time that miles drag on, your eyes are filled with tears because you don't know if your child is okay. Finally, you get there to see the school in panic. Almost after the longest 5 minutes of your life, you finally catch a glimpse of your child. You have bumps and bruises, they have bumps and bruises, but overall are okay. Other parents aren't so lucky. Then you hear the story on the news. This could have been prevented. How could this have been prevented, you ask? A tornado safe room for every person in the building and the community. Imagine if a tornado comes from Salem, through Salem, and this happened many times before, and we've gotten lucky. Henryville wasn't so lucky. 3 miles away, Henryville School building was destroyed by two tornadoes in a row, one after the other. They ripped through the building. Due to quick actions by their administration, lives were spared as they sent their students home before the storm hit. I'm sure all you saw the news coverage and possibly saw the aftermath in person. Look at Oklahoma. Their students had little time, no protection. Lives were lost. The school also lost money in litigation from the deaths of 7 students, essentially paying for their funerals. If that was your child, wouldn't you do anything to protect them from that fate? This is our opportunity to do exactly that. You have the opportunity to provide safety for the students, staff, and members of the community who seek safety. While the safe rooms are almost utmost importance to our children's safety, there are some perks that would come along with them. No other school district has the opportunity to receive millions of dollars to improve its facilities and protect their students and community in the same time. FEMA has allowed us to these facilities that we need, and covering the need of a music suite and a Salem High School is the best idea. As the most populated school in the county, we are the only ones to not invest in our art facilities. East and West Washington have both spent either bonds or rainy day funds to expand and improve their art facilities. They're doing what's best for their students. Now it's Salem's turn. This is an opportunity for funds we may use again, especially if we never receive again, especially if we turn them down. Salem is a place we chose to raise our family and the school that we chose to educate our children. Now it's time to put our politics and debates aside and use this opportunity to stand up for our children that attend Salem schools and the Salem community. Choose to invest in all of our students. Choose to tell that they are important. Choose to keep their safety in the utmost priority with the safe rooms. Choose to invest in the future and not the funeral. It's the responsibility of a school to educate and look after the well-being of our students. This is why this decision to accept and move forward with the FEMA Safe Room grant and needed bond is a no-brainer. No amount of money is more valuable than a human life. Sincerely, Jackie Davis. Also, we have a petition, I do believe, of several names, and I won't read every name, but I will leave them with Jana, and Jana can keep it in the records, but I'll just read. This is from the Friends of Salem Choir. Child safety and well-being are the utmost concerns, regardless of what a learning pursuit and student activities involved. Salem Community Schools has always been a leader at student safety and trained administration and staff security system and a tornado safe room at Brady Shrine Elementary School, which brought us national and media recognition. This is the opportunity to make a responsible decision. Tornado safe rooms withstand winds up to 250 miles per hour and provide a safe place for schools in the community to come when they do not have access to safe shelter. Tornado Alley is moving closer. We have one chance to be prepared. Further, you have opportunity to make improvements to the school that will allow the musical arts to be a permanent place at Salem High School. These are needs that Salem has very successful music programs. Our band has won state championships, and choir recently 9 students qualified for the state solo and ensemble. Both are produced multiple students who have received musical scholarships and pursued the arts in their careers. Musical performing arts is an industry providing millions of dollars to the American economy and influences art around the world. These rooms will also provide a place for students to pursue a possible career in student community safety at the same time. This letter includes a petition. The petition has signs and comments from Salem alumni, parents, taxpayers, and supporters of Salem schools. Please use this petition in consideration of the decision you make in regards to accepting the FEMA Safe Room grant and the bond to back up costs to build the safe room facilities at Salem Middle School and Salem High School. We, as an executive board, also support the acceptance of funds and bond. So there's a petition, and we'll have that on file with Jana. Okay. Also, Desi Alexander, which is the Washington County Emergency Management Agency Director, she wrote, "Dear Salem Community School Board, in recognizing that Indiana is ranked number 16 by the National Data Center for the number of tornadoes per 10,000 square miles per year for the period between 1991 and 2010, and recognizing that Salem currently has 1 certified Red Cross shelter at the Southern Hills Church and 1 emergency tornado shelter, the Safe Room, at Brady M. Shrum School. Together, these facilities could safely approximately 1/6 of the population of Salem, which is about 6,236 people. The Salem Community School Corporation recently received notification from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, that they have received a 75% matching grant to construct safe rooms at Salem High School and Salem Middle School. Not only would this expand the capacity of number of people that we could keep safe during a disaster in the city of Salem, but also will provide the safety at a significant cost savings to local taxpayers. Salem Schools will be the only school in Indiana with certified safe rooms for all 3 of their buildings. These buildings are certified to withstand an EF4 tornado or a significant missile blast. As director of the Washington County Emergency Management Agency 911, I support this project and feel the savings and ability to keep the children and citizens of the city of Salem and Washington Township far outweigh any other challenges. Thank you for your time. Desi Alexander, Washington County EMA 911. One more letter. This is from our mayor, Justin Green. Dear Salem Community School Board, I wanted to first congratulate Salem Community Schools for providing a safe and excellent environment for the children of the city of Salem through the addition of a few years ago with the safe room at the Brady Shrine Elementary School. What an amazing facility it is and be used for both safety and education for our students. And now I understand you have been awarded from the Federal Emergency Management Agency a grant to construct similar safe rooms at Salem High School and Salem Middle School. This is not only a blessing, but a historic occurrence in Indiana. To know that these 3 rooms could be used not only to keep students and staff safe in the event of a disaster during school hours, but also to be used as a shelter for some 6,000 plus residents of the city of Salem is truly amazing. I'm thankful that we have such a forward-thinking board who is putting our children and community first in approaching this project. I look forward to seeing it when it's completed. It's something we hope we never have to use, but it's a huge comfort to know if it's available. As mayor of the city of Salem, I support this project and feel the safety of our children and citizens are the utmost of importance. Best regards, Justin Green, Mayor, City of Salem.
Okay, we appreciate all those responses, and Becky, we appreciate you reading those and reaching out to those folks. Our superintendent, John Acton, and our assistant superintendent, Dr. Thurston, have put together a PowerPoint to hopefully answer some questions, and our board members will have questions during this period.
Thank you. Good, perfect. Sorry, I'm thinking PA, not audio. I'd like to reiterate again tonight, thanks for letting us talk. We are only giving information tonight. And Dr. Thurston and I are going to go through this together. We're going to tag team a little bit here. We'll say this right at the beginning, and this doesn't just happen at Salem, it's any school corporation. Facilities impact your instructional strategies and your current facilities and your future planning about what you do. And I'll say this, what we do over the next few months, it really is going to impact not just Salem Community Schools, but the community of Salem for many years, long after any of us are employees of Salem. So what decisions we make are important. No decisions tonight. Part of the decision-making process is looking at all avenues and finding as much information as possible so everyone can make an informed decision. So what we've said is anything that we do, and it should always be the aspect, but anything we should do should have a community focus. Salem Community Schools is the hub of this community. So as we look for any project that goes forward, not just with potential safe room projects, but anything that comes down the line, my recommendation is it is always a community focus. It's not just benefiting the students in Salem Community Schools, but how can it benefit our community as well? So at this point, I'm going to turn over part of this presentation to Dr. Thurston. Going to talk a little bit about kind of the history of school budgeting, where it plays in, and how it impacts us as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Acton. The chart on the screen depicts how budgeting was conducted in the state of Indiana prior to 2019. January 1, 2019, structure changed from this format. Can we go back? Yes, sir. Sorry. Where previously, for almost 30 years, the taxing funds were the debt service fund, the pension, bonds, capital projects, transportation, and bus replacement. The state took over the general fund, and I don't have that on the top of my head, but it is now the general fund and the education fund are non-taxing funds within the last few years. So what happened was a consolidation occurred with capital projects, transportation, and bus replacement into one fund, or the operations fund. We could go to the next one, please. So that now, beginning on January 1, 2019, the education fund, which also is salaries, benefits, and educational supplies directly related to the classroom, and now also entails a debt service fund, which was there before for the payments of lease rentals and debt the school corporation incurs. The operations fund is now a combination of the former capital projects fund, bus replacement fund, transportation fund, allowing flexibility to make purchases that had one time been isolated to those specific funds. For example, you used to only be able to buy a school bus out of bus replacement. Now you can buy one out of operations. You have to be a little more careful with today's structure in that it's easy to buy a bus out of operations, but later if a boiler goes down or a chiller goes down, then you only have that one pot or silo, as they've been fondly called in the past, to take that revenue from. And the rainy day fund is a fund that either is created by transferring money from the education fund or the operations fund by school board resolution. So Any questions on the structure of the funds? Oh, okay, that's all right. Okay, this chart just takes a historical view of the appropriations for the school's budget, the enrollments, and the dollars per students. And from 2018 to 2019, there's a dramatic shift downward. We went from $13,400,005 to $11,303,905. That occurred because beginning in 2019, when the budget structure changed, you can no longer pay non-classroom related expenses out of the education fund. For example, non-essential personnel, such as Mr. Acton and myself, are considered non-essential personnel. So our expense has to come from the operations fund. Our custodial staff has to come from the operations fund. Previously, you could pay part of your utility costs from the general fund and part from capital projects. Now you can only pay all your total utility costs must come from the operations fund. So to facilitate that and that change, we have to make a transfer from the education fund to the operations fund, approximately $2,096,000 monthly over the course of the calendar year. And that transfer is to pick up the expenses that are no longer allowed in the education fund, such as central office costs, custodial costs, cleaning supplies. So any questions on that, on why we're making the transfer? So, oh, thank you, Mr. Acton. Take it back, or what's this? Oh, the tax rates. Okay, okay, this looks at, I'm sorry, that wasn't what we put this together. Okay, the tax rate, as you can see in 2020, was $1.03 per $100 assessed valuation. And today, as of January 2019, the debt service fund, which is the fund that we pay our debt, lease rentals, and our building projects from, and the operations fund are the only taxing funds in the school corporation's budget. As of this year, that is $1.03, 1.0348 per 100 assessed valuation. Tax rate in 2019 was $1.06 or 1.0677 per $100 assessed valuation. Saw a slight decrease because the pension debt went off and our debt service rate was slightly lower than in 2019. So consequently, we had a reduction in 2020 of approximately 3 cents, 0.0318 per $100 change in the total tax rate. Any questions on that slide? And thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at this point, we're going to use a lot of just straight data. This one I found from taxrates.org. What I just looked at was the county property taxes, and these are just estimates, a median account of not just us, but everyone that kind of surrounds us geographically. So geographically speaking, we are the second lowest median county property tax estimates. Just for our information purposes of where we're standing and what we're trying to accomplish as we pursue future strategic plans. We asked last time during the special session, we had two individuals, two different groups, the architect of Covert, Hawkins, come, and actually three. Then we had Ice Miller with Jane Herndon and Baker Tilly Umbaugh with Tyler and Belvia. We were not able to pull all those together 2 weeks in a row. They're pretty sought after group, but we asked them to provide us more information. So in your packets, it's much easier to see. I know in person we can talk about this at the end of the presentation, but wanted more details or more information on the preliminary architectural designs. So on the screen, the middle school community safe room and multi-purpose room is on the left. The high school community safe room / fine arts is on the right. And again, as Mr. Hawkins said at the last meeting, these are the preliminary drawings. There's the ability to have some flexibility with the internal aspects, but there are certain guidelines that FEMA has determined that we must hit if we are going to pursue these projects. Some things are non-negotiables, some things are not. But that would where we could have the stakeholders involved with the individual projects to have some of the design components. And again, at the end of this, I'll shut up if we have questions. We want to talk specifically about the design. I think it'll be easier as you look at the drawings. Okay, this is a source, again, from Kovert, Hawkins. What they gave last time, I just simplified it in my version of graphs, just so for our presentation tonight. There's the total project cost for the high school at the very top number, the total project cost for the middle school at the top number, so 6.4 million, 5.9 million. The grant portion of 75% coverage, 3.8 million for the high school, 3.5 million for the middle school. The SCS portion is there in the white graphic, 2.6 and 2.4 million is what our responsibility would be to put together these two projects. Now this comes from Baker Tilly, and they are municipal advisors. I give them all the credit in the world. They're the most sought after as far as who you're going for advice. So we went for the experts, and I think Mr. Cipher said this is who the town utilized as well for their planning. So they became obviously very highly recommended. So what they put together is what the cost would be for the first mortgage bonds, which would be the price for our obligation for trying to pursue safe rooms, and then a GO bond, $380,000, and the length and time. So the GO bond is specifically for technology advancements. The first mortgage bonds are specifically for the projected safe room component projects. And I'll come back to the GO bonds and specifics here later in the presentation. So we asked them to run scenarios of how this would potentially impact our community. They started out with the estimated market value of homes and break it down as specific as they could with what a monthly tax increase could potentially be and what an annual tax could be. As you see, starting with a $50,000 market value home, going up to $250,000 home, it kind of depends on how you look at your tax bills. If you're looking at it monthly, this is what the rate would be from a 43% increase, we would not be talking to you, a 43-cent increase all the way up to a $5.58 increase for $250,000 homeowners. The annual tax there, the obligations potentially for community ranges from $5.14 to $66.95. That's for homeowners. Again, these are the projections from Baker Tilly. Commercial rental property, slightly different scale, but the monthly tax impact, $4.28. Those that own commercial rental property, and $51.40 for an annual tax impact. Again, sources are Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors. And then we had them look at the agriculture aspects and field some more questions. So the agriculture is slightly different, but for a 1 acre land, 5 cents an increase, annual tax impact would be 66 cents. 100 acres, it goes from about $5.48 a month to almost $66 for annual tax impact. So the closest data I could find as far as Salem impact, I couldn't find specific information just on Salem farmers, but I found the 2017 Census of Agriculture, and the next one doesn't count until 2022. So this would be including everybody. So I want to make sure everybody understands that. But 865 farms in Washington County. Total land acreage, so that includes all the townships, all different corporations, 211,000 acres. But the average size of the farms in our county is 245 acres. That means obviously we're going to have some farmers with much larger acreage, some less, but a 245 average size farm, it's $161 annual potential tax increase. Now, I asked Baker Tilly to also run this because looking at our projection of a safe room, community projects, and the technology components, if we were to pull out just the technology component and just go after a GO bond, you know, what would that look like? And so the question is, why are you looking at a GO bond? Well, the COVID-19 has changed education dramatically. And what we've identified quickly is areas of strength and opportunities for growth with our, what we going to call digital convergence, which is by the time we begin school, every child in Salem Community Schools will have an electronic device. Every child will have a device, but that's only the starting point. So we worked with our Director of Technology, Aaron Humphrey, and gave us a very limited, what do we need? And there was a big smile because this is only a partial list of different things, from licenses to future devices to bus Wi-Fi. I apologize, I put it on there twice. One of that should be a mobile hotspots, document cams, video conference softwares. To be a full K-12 digital convergence school corporation, it's going to require a significant investment. So the GO bonds would be a part of that. So how would that impact us again if we were to pull that out separately from the potential community safe room projects? This is what it would look like. Utilizing the same formula, Baker Tilly ran the same numbers. So a $50,000 market value for just a 380 GO bond. The annual increase would be $1. For a $250,000 home, the annual increase just on the technology bond would be $13. For agriculture, again, Baker Tilly ran these numbers for us. For a 100-acre farm or land, it's about a $13 increase just on increasing our technology aspects. And then on commercial property, it goes to $10.20 for an annual tax impact. The numbers are larger when you combine the two projects. That's why I asked them to pull them out specifically for the technology. If that is the direction that we feel is most financially viable for the school corporation and the community. So with that, I throw a whole bunch of numbers at you. But I'll say, I didn't come up with the numbers. I'm smart enough to find who are the people that can find the numbers that are the most up-to-date, the most accurate, and the most transparent. And that's why we've contracted with Baker Tilly and with Ice Miller as bond counsel. They're the ones I trust with us giving the most accurate information that we can give to our board and to our community so we can make the decision that best fits us. And I finish with a pretty graphic, so I like our logo. With that, I'll turn it over for discussions, questions. It's a great opportunity for the board to talk about different aspects.
So we've been presented with a lot of information tonight, and that's the main meaning of the last two meetings we've had, so that we get fully informed to make a great decision based on the question at hand. Some of the questions I know from people I've talked to is, what was the GO bond for? And Dr. Thurston and Mr. Acton, every student will have a device, as in a Chromebook
device.
Yep, so we'll have a Chromebook device starting in
August.
So
Or whenever we start. I want to preface.
or whenever we start, as far as that goes. And one of the other questions is what if we don't go back to school? That's an online academy.
So what we've been talking about quickly is meeting the needs of our public, meeting the needs of our students. The COVID-19 has had a dramatic impact on everybody. So we understand that there are going to be some individuals right now that are a little nervous about sending their children on campus with the way things are. So we're going to meet the needs of people and our students and develop an online option, an online pathway for our children that would be K through 12. We are in the beginning processes of that. That will include designing the curriculum, the training for students, staff, parents, so everyone feels comfortable in operating in that manner. It also will include designating the lead for that and who would who would be in charge of our online option. I think it's something that our job is to provide as many opportunities for kids as possible. And if this is the best opportunity and option for our kids, then we have to pursue that. So part of the GO bond would help cover some of the contingency aspects that up to this point, we haven't even able to put our full head around. But because of federal CARES money and because of the work of Dr. Thurston and Mr. Minton and Ms. Humphrey, they work tirelessly to get us to the point where we can say, our kids, when we come back, will have a device because we got the orders in. And that's just kind of the stepping stone of how we need to progress. So the GO bond will give us the opportunity to continue to advance our programming and what we have to do now to put our kids in the best position to succeed.
And just to make sure I'm clear on that, so in the absence of approval of the GO bond, a viable online option is not available?
No, we're going to make one. We're going to make one. Can I tell you all the can be as fully functional? No.
But that will certainly facilitate our ability to
Absolutely.
effectively deliver an online option.
Right, right.
So two questions that answers is one is kids that didn't have a device. There's also, if you read, there were some hotspot situations currently looking at possibly putting a hotspot on a bus and taking it to an area to create some type of lab.
Yeah, we have to be very creative. You know, sometimes you have to think outside of the box, and we have to think outside of the box. So we're very aware that in 2 months, some of the issues that we had about connectivity throughout our entire school district, that's not going to be fixed. Some of those things we don't have control over. We'd love for the state to help kick in and the providers to kick in, but we have to create our own solution. So if that means putting a Wi-Fi in a bus and we go and put that in different positions to try to meet the needs of our students, and that's what we'll do. We're even trying to be as creative as we can to think about what can we deliver on days that we are on campus, what utilizing a little bit of old school technology of flash drives, what can we load up to a flash drive that the students can then take home with them on the days that they're not on campus, or at least in the evenings if they don't have internet access, can still maintain the educational services. It's allowed us to be creative in our thinking because we have to. We got to meet our kids, and we got to meet the needs of our kids. So we're turning over every stone to try to come up with ideas.
That's great information. It also speaks to the question is how do we know what our student count's going to be next year. I think we're taking some proactive approaches to continue our student count numbers going into the 2021 school year. Go ahead.
It just went out today, so if you haven't come across it yet, a survey is coming out. We really are interested. We want our stakeholders' opinions from everything from about internet access, cell phone capacities, to we don't have full control over this, but the state is absolutely going to have some decision-making process. But on start of school, what's the preference of individuals? Start on the original date of August 6th? Is it delaying in August? Is it delaying later than that? What we're doing right now is collecting information, just like the board is collecting information to make decisions. Same thing for us. Deciding, the people's comfort level with where they are with putting kids on campus. Hybrid models. I'll be honest, there's not anybody in the field of education that would just not prefer that we are on campus and we're ready to go and the illness is kicked. We're ready to do that because the value of in-person instruction and just what teachers are naturally born and driven and desire to be a part of this education is to be face-to-face with kids. But we have to have as many options as possible. And we can't be naive about the situation. So coming up with plan A, with plan B, with plan C, I hear that said a lot by individuals. Really, my thinking is we got to go all the way down to D, E, F. We have to have as many multiple options, and with each one of those comes a significant amount of planning. I think I was saying this to Dr. Thurston or someone today, that it's still May. but it feels like we're ready to start school again. There's no break, right? And that's the process. It's full steam ahead to get ready for something that's coming in the next school year quickly. And everything is new. There's not a precedent for things we're doing. If there was a playbook, we would be looking at it.
As far as the tax scenarios that Baker Tilly spoke of, I think in the last meeting, they had said that maybe they had even estimated that on the high side. So
They
those,
did.
yeah.
They did. They estimated everything in the high side, and honestly, I didn't put the lower projection because we don't want to give any misleading information. So what those projections are, running their numbers under current predictions plus 1% is how they phrased it. So we didn't want to give a lower projection and that be inaccurate. So this is what they're trying to do, is make sure that this is what it would look like potentially on the high side.
Information. Any more questions? I know I have more questions, but I want Becky down to your guys' end there. Questions that you guys might have.
I just wanted to make sure that if there are any questions that the community would have,
Yeah.
that and I think we're covering some of the bases as far as, I think they wanted to know the financial impact and some of the, if for some reason the unknown, if we don't start school when we normally typically start school, will there be, and then the construction of the 2 extra safe rooms. They were kind of wondering, about that. Of course, that could work to our advantage in the fact it might be where we would have a little new construction when there's not so many in the building, and that, if you find any kind of a positive in that. So I think these were some of the questions that the community had, and just making sure that we, keep them informed. I think that's something that is very important.
And I think one of the key, I think we talk about the safe room, and there's multiple uses for the safe room. The one that we have at the elementary, Mr. Minton, was elementary principal there, was part of when that happened. There's been multiple times. And when the pandemic started, emergency management came over and looked at that room to use in the case of, if there was some spillover or whatnot, maybe from the hospital or even from the jail.
Well, Rodney, to kind of go back, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No, go ahead.
What had happened was the Justice Center, as we have here in our community, actually has been closed to the public. And so our emergency management team, was trying to find a place that they could, for those that do, and there are several that do take shelter there, should there be, severe weather. A tornado warning is usually the standard, and they take shelter there, and in that, with not an open building, what were they going to do? So they had asked to use a safe room. Of course, that's what we wanted to do, to help out with that. So that was a great thing for our community, and we still have that open because right now the Justice Center is still closed at this time to the public. So that would be another aspect.
But to add to that, you are correct. We met with Desi of the Emergency Management and the National Guard, and they wanted to have a building that was for overflow if there was a chance with the hospital being overflowed with the COVID-19. And Salem Community Schools was chosen as one of those sites for our region. It's not just Washington County, it was for our region.
In each one of those safe rooms has its own self-sustaining generator, restrooms. Some of the perks with the safe room, I wasn't on the board at that time, but I think it was a great addition. I have 3 kids in the school system, but 2 there at the elementary, was used as we partnered with the YMCA, has brought pre-K to the elementary that inhabits the new safe room in a few classrooms, because I think there were some questions of, why is there a band room in the new, one of the pictures that you saw there with the drawings. It's just, you can utilize, is my understanding, for your need, and for ever since I was in school, and some of you even way before me, kids have crossed the street, but we're not building a safe room for that exact reason. There's so many perks outside of just being a safe room. If a storm came through, my understanding, we didn't have power for a while, we could set up short-term medical facilities in 3 of those instead of 1 that would inhabit everybody. I think the numbers, Brent, maybe you can speak on behalf of that, but how many people can we get in the elementary one? 2, who opens that up? And if you can answer those 2 first.
The elementary safe room is supposed to house about 1,200 people. And I was looking at this earlier. If you look at this high school one, I think it's 1,400.
Yep.
And the middle school one was 1,040 occupants. And again, that's within a certain radius of the school that it's supposed to be able to house. As far as who opens it, currently there are 3 people that are really listed as being the ones in charge of opening in the case of emergency. The facility manager, so Matt Gorman at the elementary school. I'm on that list as the school safety officer, and then the building principal.
So they would have 24 hours access to get that building open.
Well, in the case of a tornado, the way it's set up right now, and we met with Washington County Management, emergency management, and what would happen is if there's a watch that's out there, she would be in contact and keeping an eye and see if it's a possible warning. They use Jasper kind of as the point. Okay, if there's a warning in Jasper, there's going to be a warning here more than likely. And so at that point, Desi would contact Matt or myself or the building principal and say, hey, we need to have this open. And so then we go and we open the building up.
And at that point, the thermometers, they were going to take temperatures if we're still in, where we're at now, if this was occurring. And anyone, instead of turning anyone away, but if anyone had a fever or had any kind of illness or sicknesses, we had special rooms, there's other rooms that we could put them in so that they would be, separated.
Just what Becky's saying right there gives a prime example of everything that we have taken for granted, we now have to look at. Just what you're saying there of monitoring individuals and keeping people in our community safe. We've got to protect people from inclement weather, and we've got to protect people from this ridiculous illness. So every component, the larger the facility, the more individual spaces, the more individuals you can protect. I'll be optimistic and say that hopefully by the time these potential facilities, as this is the direction of the community, these potential facilities are built, we're not having to take temperatures of people, that we've come to some medical progression that we have a vaccine or we have the magic pill. But until then, this is the new normal.
So I think we've all seen, you have a question?
Yeah, I did. I don't remember, maybe someone said, but exactly how many people could we fit into the 2 safe rooms that are proposed to be built, the one at the high school and the one at the middle school?
On the sheet right here.
Does it say on there? Because I couldn't find it.
High school one's 1,400 occupants, and the middle school one is 1,040 occupants.
1,040. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And how many currently can we fit in the Brady Room?
Approximately 1,200.
12. Okay.
Something at the emergency meeting last night we brought up was, when we had our flood, we'd never seen anything like that. And, we had several without electricity, several that couldn't go back into their homes. And this would be a great, option, if something like that, you pray nothing ever happens like that. But, having the generator, having the safety, and that would be another option too for the community, to utilize, or even to go a little broader if for some reason if we had to aid one of our sister counties or something.
Yeah, I think it brings up a great point that there's multiple uses, there's multiple people that's going to benefit from each and every room as they've benefited now. I know my wife's one of the nurses at the elementary school, and this year, whenever the storms came through and they took all the kids to the safe room, they played, not video games, but movies on the big screen, and they popped popcorn because they have a popcorn machine in there, and the kids had no idea what was going on, so didn't have that anxiety, that worry, and parents knew their kids were taken care of. So, and then on the flip side of that, we had some classrooms where we teamed up with the YMCA, and the YMCA kids were taken care of, and those were outside of our school district. So there's a whole network, on the backside. If the electric was down, and usually that doesn't affect everybody, but it affects a large portion of people. Those people could have utilized that room as well. So it isn't just, one purpose. It's, I guess, multi-purpose is the room that we're calling at the middle school, because it doesn't really have a build-out yet for an additional purpose other than, emergency management and those type of things. What other questions do you guys have?
I don't really have a question, I just have a statement.
Yep.
And Mr. Acton alluded to it, but I just kind of wanted to flesh it out a little bit, that, this is an investment in our community. If you look around at some of the school districts, that touch our county, the loss of schools is a loss of a lot of small towns. And a strong community starts with a strong school. And it's an investment in our community. It's safe. It is, the safety of our children and those living around the schools. But also, it's not just a band room, like it's been alluded to, and it's not just a multi-purpose room. It's an opportunity to do something that's safe. We're able to, bundle that together with the FEMA grant, and it's not for band and it's not for safety, it's really for the community.
I totally agree. And through the projects, we talked about the GOB bonds and offering devices for every kid in the situation. We're taking everything into consideration here, and going back to school with, Mr. Atkin leading us with multiple, options. Dr. Thurston assuring us on the finance side. So we're taking in all of those considerations as to what our numbers will be like, how we will teach kids safely in all different aspects. So I don't have any other questions unless you.
Rodney, one
go
last
ahead.
thing I'd like to say is,
Yep.
I just would like to remind everyone, we're all part of this community, we all pay taxes too, and this is gonna, it's on every one of us, that lives here, and I hope that they see that we're part of it too, and that we're not exempt. I mean, this is gonna be something that we commit to too, as a board member, but also as a citizen, to better our community and better our schools and better for our children.
Yep, I totally agree. It's, we've not taken this lightly. We've called 2 special meetings. We will not vote on this until our June meeting. Per the timeline of the FEMA offering, we would have to vote on it in June, whether we take it or we don't take it, in order to accept it and do the project in a timely manner. So we wanted to get as much information out there as we could. I feel like the information's solid. If anybody needs any more of the scenarios with the tax situations, or if you have questions or concerns, there's some paperwork that you can take home here. Have those conversations with folks in our community as well. But I feel like we're going into this pretty informed. I think we took the time out. I appreciate it, each and every one of you, for coming out and making that time commitment so that we were informed. I appreciate Mr. Acton. Me and him talk almost every day. Dr. Thurston for putting together the finance stuff. Brent's been through the pandemic, been here a lot. Jana, who's over there with us, all of our paperwork and whatnot. And Mr. Cyphers is our board attorney. And to our frontline staff for filming us, Greg for getting the message out there to the radio people as well. We appreciate all that information. If you guys, any more questions or concerns before we?
Well, I'd like to say
Yep.
thank you for the people that, that were understanding real quick that, that who who wanted to attend for us to hear their voice.
Yep.
And with safety of the board and safety, the measures that we're taking right now, when we had asked them, if they could write a letter, they were more than willing to do that. And thank you for those that did write letters and that did show your thoughts. That was very nice.
Yeah, we do appreciate that. Hopefully we can, if some people want to talk in the June meeting, hopefully we can have that opportunity. Given the situation that we have, we wanted to keep our numbers low for tonight. This is just an informational meeting anyways. That being said, I appreciate everybody coming out. If there's no more, get a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Bo makes that motion to close.
I second.
Second, all in favor?